Peru, which is the biggest airport in Peru. We didn't spend too much time in Lima, as Cusco was our primary destination, but we did spend the good part of a half day there. So we walked around the city center. It's very pretty. There's lots of cathedral style buildings. They're beautiful. It's a very, very large city center, but currently they had everything gated off, so you couldn't go in the main portion of the city center, but all the little strip roads you could all walk up and around. But the police said it was due to COVID. They had shut that kind of off. You can still see everything though. It was very, very pretty.
Yeah, so all the museums were open. The president lives there too, kind of at the head of the city square. So the president's house, their version of the White House, is a popular tourist destination. Normally you can get really close to that, take photos, take videos, but this time they just had the museums along the strip kind of leading up to that open for small tours, and there is English speaking tour guides there to get you through those.
And so we traveled in 2021 in the month of April. So during COVID, still pretty high COVID, especially in Peru. They wear masks much more strictly than the United States, even outside on sidewalks, even outside when people are not near anyone else at all. So that was just a little bit different. That was everywhere. That was Lima and Cusco. But otherwise, every restaurant was open or looked open anyway. We sat down in plenty and ate. So we had lunch at this little restaurant and we ate outside. It was very nice. We had their first pisco sour. Pisco is their liquor. It's like, their special liquor. They make, all their mixed drinks are mostly made with that. And then their drink is a pisco sour. So definitely sour drink, but here's us trying it. The pisco sour, the drink of Peru.
It's definitely sour.
And so we were eating lunch outside, as I said, and that's when we first found that what are they called? The people that sell things.
I don't know. There's a lot of art schools in Peru, a lot of college art programs, and the students will sell their art in all of their tourist attractions and city centers to try to make some money for the school and for themselves. And this is the first time we were introduced to them having no boundary of you eating.
But the thing is that it's not just the art people that have no boundary.
Right.
It's everyone selling anything has no boundaries, which is probably their culture, but this was our first instance. So eating lunch outside at a restaurant with them coming up into the restaurant, selling us art.
Yeah,
and this was my first experience, so I bought some. Very pretty.
And we didn't know at that point that they were gonna attempt to sell us art for the entire duration of the trip. Everywhere we went, somebody was selling art.
Which is beautiful, but aggressive they are. It's fine. I know tourism is low there, but I just wanted to point it out, and I thought it was kind of fun. So then we were off to Cusco. We took a little plane ride, about an hour and a half, from the Lima airport to the Cusco airport. So then we arrived in Cusco. We made our way to our first hotel in Cusco. I can't remember the name of it. Encantada Boutique Spa, I think. It was very pretty. It had a beautiful view. Cusco is very mountainous, and I love the mountains. It was so beautiful.
The view is so great because more iconic and popular place that you may have seen is Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, how the housing is all built up the side of the mountain and almost stacked as if it's stairs. That's how the housing was here in Cusco, so you could just see out into the distance, and also down onto roofs, and you could look up and just see layers of homes above you. So it was really neat to see that.
And in our hotel was one that was in the kind of side of the mountain, so that's why we had such a good view there. So it was really nice. So that was our first hotel. We stayed there for 2 nights. And then that first night, when we got there, we went to their city center, the city center in Cusco. So beautiful. And this city center is entirely open. Still everyone wears masks outside, inside. Around people or not. There's cathedrals all through the city center. It's very, very pretty. Kind of almost like the Lima one. It's definitely smaller than the Lima city center, but it is still very pretty. And all those cathedrals, you can go inside as well for a fee, almost like a museum style walk around. And we did go in one. There's no photography in them, so we don't have anything from that, but very pretty. Now it was like a couple bucks, so that was worth doing. This is also where we found out that they're very aggressive with the tourists with selling things.
Oh yeah, their city center is just loaded with. There's an art school right behind it, so like I talked about earlier with the art sales, this place is flooded with.
And so it's not just art, it's people selling wallets, it's people selling blankets, scarves. So after we spent our first night in Cusco and we explored that area, we also did go to that really nice restaurant. That really nice restaurant looks over the city center. I think that was my favorite restaurant.
Yeah, that's where we tried this ceviche for the first time, which is another dish of theirs that's really popular.
Yes, I talk about it in this video.
Shauna's meal.
Ceviche.
And then ceviche.
Traditional.
It's like a raw fish, but it's cooked in
with citric acid, essentially.
my meal. I got a trout, rice, and vegetables.
I have pork, tenderloin, rice, and some other thing.
And then my favorite drink I had, I think, was there too.
Oh yeah, with the bacon fat.
There's a Peruvian cocktail that we ordered.
Sorry.
Shauna's choking.
I inhaled something in my last drink.
It's bacon fat, Jack Daniels, egg whites whipped to give you a foam topping.
It's so good. Probably the best drink I've ever had that's like a mixed drink.
And as far as cocktails go, it's the best one I've had.
Wow. So good.
I know. It's my second one. Shauna had to get one for herself.
Because I tried a Pisco punch first, which is their traditional alcohol is Pisco. So I had to try one of those too.
We had Pisco earlier, but it was so sour and it was
This
hard
one
to
was sweeter.
suck down. I think it was a lot stronger though, because the one that we just had went
Not
down
as
good.
strong. It was better tasting though, but not as good as this.
Cheers.
We didn't.
Wing cut.
off season currently, so it's a bus train combo, whereas in peak tourist season it's just a train. So we did the bus train combo. I think it's a total of 4-ish hours there, maybe 3.5.
Yeah, really
Does that sound
scenic
right?
and really pretty, so
Yeah.
it's not.
In that bus,
Awesome.
we slept. It was so comfortable.
Yeah.
That bus was so comfortable. And then we arrived in Aguas Calientes, a beautiful little town. I don't think it's chalked up to what it should be. It's so pretty. Beautiful river, bridges, mountains, view, all these little stores. It's so pretty. We didn't have much time there because we did then take another little bus. It's like 20 minutes up to Machu Picchu. You do not need a tour guide to go into Machu Picchu. I saw that on the internet here and there, like, yes, you need a guide. You do not. We walked Machu Picchu alone. And I preferred it that way. We just wanted to go through. We just didn't want to spend 4 hours there. We wanted to spend, 1 or 2 is what I think it took us to go through, take the photos, and really stay where we wanted to stay for photos. And it is breathtaking.
And if you're big on history and getting into Machu Picchu and its origins and the people of the area, instead of just taking in the sights, then investing in the tour guide is probably well worth it. I heard information they're putting out to other people, and they spent a lot of time and they went very thorough with each piece of the structure. But we just wanted to get through, enjoy Machu Picchu, and
then enjoy the town a little too. We had our train back the same day. We did not stay there, which if you can, I'd recommend that. We just were tight on time. With COVID, our flights kept getting changed around and it kind of messed up my schedule a little, so we couldn't stay there any longer, which we still got to go, so I'm happy with that. We actually went to a craft brewery restaurant in Aguas Calientes, and it was phenomenal. Beer was fantastic, and it sat on the river. Beautiful. You can see that in some of our videos too. It's very beautiful. And very good tasting food.
that sounds great.
Nice. We didn't make it into many shops or anything, but we took a lot of videos of the river and the mountains and the bridges, and I went through some of the little market. Very nice town. The next day, we were still in Cusco. Just going back to the town center, we found a baby alpaca.
8 dniami. 9 to nie kumpleńca.
Can you get me in it? Oh my gosh, it's so soft.
We wanted to explore a little more in Cusco before we had our next adventure. So we walked around, did some more city center. We really liked this coffee shop, or I guess it's a cafe. We really liked this cafe, and we went there multiple times actually to have cups of coffee because it sits right outside and you can see the whole city center. It's where we also got bombarded with people selling things. It was fine. It was worth it. I really liked that place.
And one thing I like a lot about being able to sit out there and just take it all in and enjoy your coffee is, unlike the US, they're not trying to shuffle you on. So they
That's
really
true.
need your money, and they're not busy like many places here. So if you want to sit for hours and enjoy coffee, they're more than happy to take care of you for hours for just cups of coffee.
And I don't know if this is different during peak season or when COVID's not going on. You know, because Peru opened up recently before we had gone. We also went through the San Pedro market. It's their biggest market, I believe, in Cusco. We walked to it from the city center, not too far, very large. We just walked through quickly because we were trying to get ready for our next adventure. But it was big, had lots of stuff, shops, food, juice. Very, very nice little market. That chocolate museum.
Yeah, just outside the city center. It's a must.
It was so cool. We would have never found it. We ended up like befriending a local, and he kind of showed us around a little bit, and he's like, go in there. And so that was so cool. We went in there. I don't have videos, but we went inside there, and you get to try all their different chocolates. It's just a little drop, but it's so fun. And then it was this chocolate tea. It was so good. She was so nice. It was a great little experience. So look that up when you go. And then it was my very favorite part of the trip. We went to the Sky Lodge. It's called Sky Lodge Adventure Suites. And it's worth the trip to Peru in itself. Had the best time there. It was my favorite part of the whole trip.
Yeah, climbing the Via Ferrata was a first for me. I'm not a fan of heights, and I was pretty nervous.
So it's a Via Ferrata, which is a permanent trail set into a mountain where the iron bars that you climb up, and you are carabined.
Yep, from bolt to bolt.
So you know, if you fall, you go a very short distance because you have to keep moving these clips and keep moving.
1,300 feet. You climb 1,300 feet. Just some pods that are suspended off the side of the mountain, and that's your hotel room for the night. And they feed you.
So we saw our dinner pod once we got up there after our nice long journey up the mountain. We saw our nice little sleeping pod. You can fit up to 4 people in your party, but you don't have to. You can have as little as 1. It's very comfortable. It's very private. It feels stable. It doesn't shake. You have a bathroom to use. Of course, there's no shower, but you know, you can use the restroom. There's water for drinking. There's coffee. They greet you, and then you can have tea. Like, it's a very nice experience for what you'd think you would get suspended off of a mountain.
Yeah, they feed you dinner when you get up there the night, and then in the morning you get up pretty early to start the day.
And then they make you a nice breakfast. All the meals were fantastic. And then you get to zip line down.
Which was the best part for me. I really liked that part. Zip lining down was awesome.
I'm so glad that you liked the zip lining.
That was awesome.
You did. He was afraid during the Via Ferrata up, but he made it, and I'm so glad he did. But I was so happy that he loved the zip line, just because I felt like I kind of forced him to do this whole thing, and that if he didn't really love any part, I'd feel a little, I don't know, sad or guilty. But he loved that. I loved the whole thing. Again.
And you get to take 6. I don't want to make it sound like it's quick. You go up 1,300 feet and you take 6 zip lines on the way down, zigzagging. And these zip lines are long and they're very high. Obviously, you get closer to the ground as you're getting down in the numbers, but
I can't recommend that enough, and I give them 5 stars over and over again. They were fantastic. Hosting, just the whole trip was fantastic. It was amazing. And the shuttles included from Cusco to there and back.
Yeah.
So they dropped us back off then at Cusco. And there we were again. We stayed at then our second hotel in Cusco, Cities of the World Hotel, I think it was called.
and that one flew it out of the park.
That was my favorite hotel in Cusco where we stayed. You have a jacuzzi, it's basically a hot tub in your room, overlooking the entire city. Your bed overlooks the entire city. It was amazing. We went to bed, stayed in there, and got up the next day, and then we went back to Lima. And then waited for our flight home to the United States. I do want to briefly talk about COVID testing in Peru. The COVID testing in Peru is so easy. And, as long as it's still required, I'll just give you a little scoop. We did it through Unilabs, is what it's called. We booked our appointments online prior and paid. I printed all the paperwork out. It's all in Spanish, and I didn't know what a darn thing said. So I brought it with me, both of our stuff. We brought it with us. You get a ticket for your time, for your COVID test that you paid for, your time slot. Bring it. Brought it. Lady spoke English. She helped us each fill out our papers. She scanned our little tickets, and we went and sat down and waited our turn. It was easy enough. Came up in our phones within a couple hours, and we were good to go. We showed that electronically in the Lima airport for American Airlines, and it was fine. Everything worked and went smoothly.